Brother teacher here, have you an instructor that you came up under who was your main instructor, who no longer trains, who no longer practices martial arts, who no longer teaches martial arts? I've experienced that. One of my head and main instructors in the karate arts, if you will, or the Korean martial arts, he doesn't train any students anymore. He doesn't teach anymore, and he's basically fallen away from martial arts. He will talk about it, especially when you're in his presence, and because of pride, and I think ego has something to do with it as well, he won't denounce the fact that he actually doesn't really have the interest anymore. He's seeking other things in life. I'm not blaming him for it, and this is not an indictment against my instructor. I'm not going to mention his name. It's not even relevant or important who the person or individual is. But this is what I'm getting at. Oftentimes, you can tell how sincere someone is about their given choice in life as it relates to their vocation, their choice of passions and hobbies, if you will, by their longevity. Now, let's take the word hobby out. I just used that word, and it's not appropriate for what I'm saying here right now to you. Let's just say their particular career. Now, martial arts is not simply a career to me, it is my life. And I was taught that as a child. Now, have I been indoctrinated by people and I'm so ingrained with this being my life that I don't have my own freedom of choice? Of course not. I have my own free choice, and I can decide to stop martial arts tomorrow if I so desired. But because I do indeed enjoy and love what I'm doing, I do indeed love and enjoy teaching others, and I love changing lives for the better. But getting back to my original premise, there are some people, when something is popular, when something is very trendy and hip at the time, a lot of people will jump on that bandwagon, that flow. And again, how we determine whether or not that person was really sincere about what they were doing is how long they stick to it. I've been doing the martial arts now, or I've been a martial arts instructor slash practitioner and innovator, if you will, for nearly 50 years. I have never had a vacation. I've never stopped. I've never had a real intermission. I've been consistent in the martial arts. So what does that say about me and people like me who have that same history of being consistent? Still teaching, still holding martial arts events, still doing seminars, still doing workshops, still studying. There are people who, because of the time that they grew up in, martial arts became popular, 60s and 70s more specifically. Everybody and their grandparents jumped on that bandwagon. You know, martial arts became real popular. Bruce Lee, Five Fingers of Death, Triple Irons, you know, Shaw Brother movies, and all of these different things. So all of these things got people's nostrils flared up and their eyes wide open, and everybody wanted to do martial arts. But where the rubber meets the road, where are they now? Are they still practicing the martial arts? Or is it just a past thing with them? Is it just memories gone by? I know a handful of people that are still currently active in the martial arts when I was. But the vast majority, and I do say vast majority of those people, have fallen away. Many of them are dead. They are just working a dead-end job. Some of them have gone on to some other career, and martial arts is not even part of their lives whatsoever. So what happened? Well, what really happened is that they had, as the scripture says, the word is not passion. They had a zeal, but not according to knowledge. In other words, they were very quick to jump on a trend at the time. But once the trend wore off, they wore off because it was just a trend to them. It was not something that they truly loved. Because when you truly love something, you never let it go. And I'm talking about those things that are really of value. I'm not talking about a Hot Wheels set, Johnny Lightning cars, or Matchbox cars, or figurines and things like of this nature, and sports figures and ball teams. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about things that actually do change your life for the better. When you truly love something like that, 20 years down the road, when you bump into people that you've known in your childhood and when you were coming up as a young adult, they'll still look at you that same way and say, hey, you haven't stopped doing what you started as a child or when you were really young. Still doing it. That's how people approach me. They say, brother teacher, I remember when you was a child. I remember elementary school when you used to break boards all the time. I remember when you was doing demonstrations and karate tournaments as a young man, and you're still sticking to it. Man, it's been a long time. You see? So what does that say? Who's really passionate about martial arts? So getting back to my original question again, do you have an instructor, or have you had an instructor who just dropped all his training or her training and they never show up at school or class anymore? They've retired. Some have done that, I've seen. Or they just are not interested in martial arts anymore at all. They've allowed life, to just overwhelm them. But is not martial arts a way of life? Think on these things. Let me know, please, in the comment section below. Let me know if this is something that you have personally experienced where your instructor has stopped teaching and has no interest in martial arts anymore, or had. I will be interested in knowing, and I'll comment back. Okay, so long.